Hi. I just wanted to come on and share something I frankly relearned today, and hopefully at a deeper level, one that lasts a little longer. You know how you learn something, you think, oh, I've got this from now on, and then one day you find, oh, totally forgot. Or why did that feel so bad? That experience I just had, that thing I just created, that thing I hoped would turn out so well, why do I feel like I'm a failure? Again. Not uncommon, right? So I was in a workshop today, an ongoing weekly workshop with Eric Lofholm in the Being Movement, and we were talking about creating a new future, a new experience, not based on past experience, not a recreation of a remembered experience, but has a totally new way of being around anything that's important that I want to create, experience. And the key distinction was the use of imagination. So it's not hard to remember and imagine, even though memory is a little shaky at best, and often already overwritten and rewritten several times by the time we return to it. There's still a way to start with disappointing, painful, self-judgment experiences from the past, not as a way of choosing their opposites like an affirmation, but of using my imagination to imagine the outcome I would have preferred. We've all, I would say, typically been aware of that could have turned out better and have a generalized, maybe an abstract idea, or a not fully consciously developed ideal for what the outcome might have been at its best being deeply satisfying, at its best being fulfilling, and therefore helpful in creating the future we want to create. So the way to use the past experiences is to just get in touch with them, to feel how they felt, and therefore put myself in contact with my being, my process, the way I feel, the way I'm noticing, what I'm noticing about myself, and especially about my relationship with reality around me. So using the energy of that connection with the thing that matters to me, and why I have a feeling about it at all, then connected to that value, to that desire, I can begin to imagine how that might look. Imagination is an incredibly powerful tool. So to be able to use my imagination to advantage, to make a real difference in how I live my life and how I experience myself, that feels good. That's a possibility I want to play with and lean into and create from, not because it's right or accurate, but because it's effective for things that matter to me, or might be. So in a way, not like it's the truth, but it is something I can try on. And so the exercise we were given actually was to imagine a scenario where we felt pain or disappointment or judgment, and then create the desired outcome and imagine how that might unfold from the feeling place of what matters. And then another distinction that was made during the call was really the turnaround point for me, and that was accountability. I'm familiar with accountability in a certain way. And my natural tendency up to now has been to see accountability as I succeeded or I failed. I succeeded, here's what worked, or I failed and I suck. I failed and I feel, once again, not enough, inadequate, undesirable, unlovable. We all have our versions of that. And what Eric proposed was accountability is not so much about whether I achieved the results or not, but my relationship with whatever is important. So in this case, my relationship with myself gets reimagined and turned into something more useful and generative with possibility. So if my relationship with myself is clear and clean and healthy and loving and filled with possibility, then I don't really have to work very hard to create new results. And my experience of myself and whatever matters to me is enriched and present and alive. And life, for me, is alive. And that's worth trying on. So to sum up, creating a new reality and trying it on and rehearsing it, imagining it playing out, seeing myself, feeling my experience at succeeded at creating not only what I want, but perhaps more than I knew I wanted. Creating way beyond the possibilities I could imagine before I started to imagine them, before I started to actively create from imagination. And then the other point is, when I hold myself accountable for taking action to create, rather than to focus on success, failure, notice that success means I made an effort. There was a result. No need for judgment. Just an acknowledgement. And a relationship with myself that says, I made an effort. I got a result. I can be present with it. And I can choose the relationship I want to have with myself, rather than assume that it has to be a specific relationship. Now that doesn't bring me freedom from anything, and it brings me freedom to anything. And I am profoundly grateful to be reminded and shown a new dimension, a new depth, a new set of possibilities about life as a creator. Thank you for listening, and I hope this is valuable to you. Feel free to reach out with questions, with accountability stories. And again, thank you. It's my honor to bring this to you.